when you're starting to oil paint, the first thing that everybody's kind of concerned about is brushes, and there is a breadth of different types of brushes and price points. And I'll include a list of like the paint brushes that I recommend and kind of what order and how they're going to be used in a download for this. But when you're starting out, I would actually recommend starting with the cheap brushes, and you'll find that they come in packets. And these are some cheap paint brushes. Notice they're very short, and they probably cost about $5 to $7 for a pack. And I would recommend that you start with these, and here's several reasons why. Number one reason is when you start painting, most people start holding it like this, and that's like holding it like a pencil, and they feel like they've got to control everything. As you get more comfortable, you're going to find that you're going to move out to the end and you're going to make your little strokes using the tips. So that's the first reason. The second reason is you want to use cheap brushes is because a lot of times when you're beginning painting, you really load that brush up. And when I say really load that brush up, you're filling it up to where it touches the ferrule. This part right here is the ferrule. And what you want to do is keep the paint in the tips of the paintbrush. And the reason is if the paint gets down into the ferrule part, it's going to ruin the paintbrush because you're not going to be able to wash that out. That's the number two reason I would really recommend the cheap brushes until you kind of develop those habits of learning to use the tip of the paintbrush and also start to use the whole length of the paintbrush. I've seen artists that will actually have extenders on the longer paintbrushes so that they get even further out. So I would start with the cheap ones. Okay, and I'll also say the number three reason is I want you to be able to focus on the quality of the paint rather than the quality of the paintbrushes, because you're going to notice a significant difference in the level and the quality of your painting based on the paint, not the paintbrushes. I would recommend buying the cheap ones to start. When you first start a painting, I recommend using hog hair brushes. Hog hair brushes are very stiff. This one's actually a synthetic type hog hair. This one's a real hog hair. They are very stiff and you can scrub as much as you want and it's not going to ruin them. And that's what I really like. Whenever I'm starting my painting, I just scrub. I'm scrubbing in the colors. And these take it like a beast. This one I think I've had for probably maybe 15, 16 years. This one I just got maybe 3 years ago. So you can see they probably started out the same, but this one I've really used and scrubbed with. Get at least 1 or 2 good hog hair brushes so you can use them for scrubbing. So I would encourage you also to get a mop brush. You'll notice that these are all short handled. They just make them that way. So get some mop brushes. Get a large one and at least a small one. I've got a medium one too. They're fabulous for blending and you'll see me use these a lot. So I love my mop brushes. As far as small paintbrushes, so I know when you first start painting, there's a tendency that you want to go really, really, really small. So if you want a small paintbrush, I would recommend again going synthetic, and here's the reasons why. So synthetic, like these, they maintain their shape a lot better, and also I recommend synthetic over sable or badger for these fine ones, especially when you get started, is because you're going to ruin them. Because again, you're going to get the paint back up in the ferrule, and when you first start painting, you have a tendency to scrub. And these synthetic ones take it like a beast. Let me show you some ruined ones that I've done. So all of these, you know, they probably cost me like 10, 20, I don't know, bucks each. And they are so tiny. And oh my gosh, I totally ruined them because I got paint up in them, or I would scrub because they're just like all. I would not recommend spending your money on really thin sable or Kolinsky sable brushes, instead use the synthetic. Otherwise they're gonna probably end up just like mine. And I haven't got the heart to throw these away because I'm sitting here thinking, surely I can get some use out of them. If you need a pointy one, synthetic is the way to go. And as far as palette knives, get the metal ones. I can tell you the metal ones will last you forever. And I have a variety here. I will reserve the final touches with a palette knife, and I'll actually scumble, which is a technique that I'll show you how to do. This is my one that I've had from the very beginning. So like I said, they will last forever. If you get the good ones, don't get the plastic ones. Now, as far as like the shape of them and why you would use a different palette knife for a different shape, it'll create a different type of mark. And that's just something you'll play with and get comfortable with. Again, I use it for scumbling, which I don't really throw out my paintbrushes because they all seem to have a purpose at some point. This one is one of my favorites. This is an angle brush. Let me see if I can get this up there. This is an angle brush, and it is completely ruined because I got the paint down here in the ferrule. But what I found is this an angle paintbrush makes the best hair strokes for me because it's synthetic, it's rough, it's stiff, and so when I put my paint into the paintbrush, it's going to just carry those strokes really nicely, and it's pretty uneven. It worked out, and that's why I don't throw away my paintbrushes. I actually do prefer synthetic. So synthetic, they're fake. They seem to keep their tips and their shape a lot better. When I first got started painting, I spent a lot of money on sable brushes. Red sable, badger hair, those are probably the best ones to get, and you'll pay for them. They are really kind of pricey. I think this one was a red sable that I paid about $75 for, and I rarely use it. You'll develop kind of a taste for which ones you like the best based on just experimentation. They say that whatever brush size that you're most comfortable with, bump it up in size. And the reason for that is you want to kind of get loose. You want to be out of control with your paintbrush, so to speak, and you don't want to be up on it like this, but you want to be back, just lightly making strokes. The red sable, I use these when I do glazing and like the final touches, and you'll notice that these two are virtually the same, and they're ruined, so you can see that they're ruined. Again, because I got the paint up in the ferrule, and these are the ones I probably bought about 17 years ago, 15 years ago. So even though they're ruined, what I use them for are up close type mop brushes. When you are comfortable and you've got like a style that you develop, then I would recommend getting something a little more expensive. And there's rosemary brushes. You can only order them online, and I actually got a set here, and they are they're awesome. They're badger hair. The strokes that they make are delicate and leave a brush mark. So it's almost like I can feel the paint through them because they can move so smoothly. They're very, very soft. So with that, I have to take very good care of them, and I'll show you how to take care of your brushes. And this was from learned experience because, you know, I've ruined a lot. But these I have not. So I will show you how to do all that. Over the years, I have preferred the flat. So because I can control how I handle each edge, whether I want a large stroke or if I want to touch the corner and just do a small edge piece. So that's my preference, but I want you to develop yours. When we go through the videos, I'm going to tell you what I'm using and kind of why I'm using it. And then you paint on your own and also figure out what you like and what you don't like. Regardless of what you pick and what you start with, I would encourage you to experiment with them, because you'll find that they'll make different strokes, and you'll find that they may handle a little bit better, and you may or may not like it, but that's how you learn, and you'll develop your own kind of style and taste for your paintbrushes.